Okay, hello, my friend. Hopefully that you are doing great. So in this lesson, I want to share you how to handle a very specific element on the web page. We call it is iFrame. So if you go to the base URL, the internet app.com and slash iFrame here. So you can see this page, we have an inbox here. And for example, your text, you want to try to input something in this box, okay? So if you have never worked with an iFrame before, when you try to right click and then you now inspect, you probably get the ID here as a web element, select the value, and then you start your scripting. But your test script will be failed because it is inside an iFrame. It's not a normal web element. So if you do something like that, your test will be failed. So what is an iFrame? So if you go on the top of the page here, so basically the whole page here will be an HTML page. And then if you scroll down, what we try to focus here, this body actually inside another HTML page. So you can see here, this is the HTML page inside our HTML page here. So basically an iframe is a HTML base that is embedded in our HTML. So you can see the iframe tag here. So that means we need to handle it in a specific way as well. But before making the test script running successfully, I want to show you how it's failed first. Okay. So now I want to do something manually. Let me try to create a new folder in the object repository folder here, and I call it is iFrame. Then I will right click and create a new text object. Let me name it as main input. Okay. So this is the main input, and actually it's a text object. So for example, if I try to grab the body here and it is an ID, so I just try to copy the ID value here, and then I will come back and I will identify it as a CSS value. So because it's an ID and I want to identify it as an CSS value, so I want to put a hashtag here and I just paste the value here. So let me try to click outside. Here you can see this is my CSS value. Okay, so now I save it. So this is my element. Now I want to create a new text script. So I just want to try to copy this text script and try to modify it. So just Control C and Control V. So in this case, I want to try to rename it to something like text iframe. Okay. So if I open the text iframe here, what I want to do that I will try to change the URL value and then I will try to input. So let me try to delete all of those steps. Then after I navigate to the URL, actually I need to change the URL here. So double click, and then paste the new URL here. So after that, I want to add a new step. I will use the same key here and where's the close browser? Okay, anyway, we will add it later. So here, if I double click on the object and then I will select the iframe page and then I select the main input here, I click on the OK button and then I want to adjust the input value as something like input something. And I hit OK button. After that, I want to close the browser. Oh, it seems we already have it. Okay, let's try to save it. Okay, after I save it, and now I want to run. So my purpose here, for example, I don't have any idea about iframe, right? And now if I run this test script, it will be failed. You can see something related to cannot find the element on the page or something like that. So the browser is now launching and you can see it does nothing. Actually, it's trying to find the element that I specify with the CSS value. Okay, so the default wait time here, I think it's probably 30 seconds. So I think we can terminate the test and we don't need to wait more. So your test will be failed in this case. Okay, so now let me try to close the browser. Now, what we're going to do is we need to specify the iframe first, right? And then we will try to point the element to this iframe as a parent element. Now, let me try to copy the ID here. And then under the iframe pay object here, I want to create a new test object with the name iframe. Okay. So this ones will have the CSS selector again with the value ID. So I put an hashtag here and I paste the value. Let me try to click outside here and then I try to save it. Now if I go back to the main input here, double click, you can see now I want to do what I want to do. I will specify the parent iframe here and then I approach to the parent iframe is this one. Okay, and then I just simply hit the save button. Now if I go back to the test script here, probably I will not change anything. So Catalog Studio will recognize that before I want to interact with this web element, I will try to switch to the iframe first and then I will switch to this element. Okay, and now if I run, the test will be successfully this time. So try to learn it. And by the way, sorry for any background noise around. Okay. So you can see here, it happened very quick, but we could see that the test is successfully. So I just want to make some things more clear now. So before doing it, I want to clear the, we have some existing text here. I want to clear it first. After I send the key, what I want to do that I will try to delay a little for us to see the result on the page. Okay, so now I want to add one more step. So probably this step will be something like clear the text here. Enter, double click. So I will select the main input here. Okay, and because this action is to clear the test, so I don't want to put something inside, right? So this is the main input, and we call the interaction method name clear test. So probably we want to move up, clear the test, send key, and then after that I want to add one more step that's related to delete. This one. And the delay time, where is it here? The delay time probably 3 seconds. Okay, and then I will move up before we close the browser. Just save and then run again. You can see this time, if you try to clear the existing text in the box first and then try to send the new value. Here you can see and delay 3 seconds before closing the browser. So let me try to summarize a little. So basically, when you try to do something and it failed, the first thing you need to make sure that's whether your selector value is correct or not. Okay, so as I shared with you already in previous lectures, you can use web recorder or something related to spy web feature here to try to capture the web element. But in the case it failed and you want to check again, you need to make sure whether that web element is inside an iframe or not. So if it is inside an iframe on the base object, what you want to try to do that you need to specify that iframe, right? And all of the web element inside that iframe should specify the parent iframe, and then we point to that iframe, okay? And now in the test script, what you do is you don't need to mention about the iframe here anymore. The Catalog Studio will try to, specify the parent element. That means it will switch to the parent element before interact with the element inside that iframe, and your test will be successfully. Okay. So try to practice yourself and explore around. Bye for now, and see you in the next lesson.